Welcome to Mediumship Matters, the podcast dedicated to spiritual growth, connection, and the reality of working with spirit. This season is proudly sponsored by Spirit Social, the brand new online community for the spiritually curious. It's a space where you can connect, share experiences, and access exclusive content without the noise of mainstream social media. With live events, expert insights, and a supportive community, Spirit Social is the place to deepen your journey. Take part in the free 6-month trial by visiting spiritsocial.co or downloading the app from the App Store now. Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters with me, Hannah Macintyre. Today, I am joined by my friend and colleague, Pamela Downes, spirit calling, a channeler, a medium, and an all-round fantastically good egg. Welcome, Pamela. Thanks for joining us.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't wait to get here to be with you. I was so excited to have time to spend just chatting and having conversation and just seeing you. You're so lovely, and I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. And I have to tell the listeners that we had to eventually hit record after spending 22 minutes just chewing the fat before we even got there. And I was like, we're losing all the gold. We've got to save this for the podcast. So start off, Pamela, by telling everyone a bit about what you do.
Oh my gosh, I feel like what do I not do right now? It's so funny. So last year, after I started my awakening journey in 2008, 2012, I went through all of the spiritual awakening stuff and trying to realize and understand what it is that I believe in. It led me on my spiritual journey, which led me on my healing journey, which then opened up all my gifts. It's a long story, a very interesting one, but it led me to what I'm doing today, which is, I hear, I see, I feel. I sense, I get premonitions and downloads and visions. And one of those was in 2020 to create a community. I was told there's going to be a glass ceiling that breaks. There's going to be an event that happens. There's going to be a place that's needed for humankind to land safely, to explore their spiritual life, their spiritual sense, and who they are. And I was told it's called Spirit Calling. And over the course of a year, they kept telling me, build the platform, build the platform. And finally, I saw the logo in a dream, and it all came together in my mind. So I launched that in January of 2024. So just a little over a year ago. But I kind of stayed in a safe space. I was very like in a comfy, cozy, safe, like spiritual community, sharing my channel messages and sharing my visions. And in October of 2024, Spirit was like kicking me in the ass and saying, it's time. It's time, girlfriend. You got to get out. You got to share these visions, these premonitions, all this stuff you've been receiving since 2020. The world needs this. You can't stay here anymore. You need to get out, little bird. Go, fly. And that was October, November, December, January, like everything shifted when I had that energetic conviction inside of me. And I knew that it was time. Someone saw me, invited me onto a live YouTube that expanded my audience. It expanded my community. Someone submitted me to be on Next Level Soul podcast with Alex Ferrari. I got an invitation in my inbox less than a year into my business, which I had always seen myself having a conversation with him. I always saw us back and forth talking. I just didn't know it would happen so soon. Having been on that podcast, I had to channel live for the very first time publicly for the whole world to see. And he says something funny like, Pamela, so when did you come out of the spiritual closet? And I just started laughing and I'm like, ouch.
Wow.
I don't know that I actually have. He's like, I got news for you, Pamela. There's 1 million plus, subscribers on this channel. You're coming out of the closet. We started laughing, but that's actually what happened. Like, through these opportunities of faith and courage and love for yourself and your future, where you're leaving fear behind and you're practicing it, and you're preaching it to everyone. It's your job. You can't sit and cower behind the fear. You've got to push forward for the love, the opportunity, for all that is, because your future already exists. You have to align to it. And the vibration of fear does not allow you to align to it. So you're working for your soul, you're working for your future, you're working for whatever that vision is and mission is and purpose that you came on the planet to do. That's my driver always. That's the courage that I have inside of me because the littlest, the beginnings of those say yes to love and no to fear, the very beginnings of them shows you the evidence of the decision on the other side of it. And then you want to do that more and you want to do that more. But then those decisions get bigger and
Yes.
bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you have to channel live. And so I got an opportunity to channel on a very non-spiritual podcast that just launched last week in front of like millions and millions of people. And I knew that universe spirit wanted me there because they've showed me that I'm supposed to be there for the glass ceiling, for the people who are not awake, for all the people who don't even know that there's a larger vision and reality to our world, that we are not just what's before us, my beautiful friend. We are so much more than that. We're so much more than that. And yet everyone's walking around fighting and everyone's choosing sides and spewing their opinions and resonating in these frequencies that have been conditioned and created for us when our job that we came here to do is learn love. And that is love for all the things I just talked about. And so I created Spirit Calling for those people who are going to have that realization very soon. And like you said earlier, we're creating the safe place to explore, to speak, to expand. That's what it is. You
Mhm.
can talk about the things like the people who go to your school who are learning and tuning in their gifts and their senses and all the things. They they have to explore it. Remember you told me you have to explore your mediumship. You have to let those thoughts come out to be able to be expressed to fine tune that tool.
Yes.
That's the safe place. You can say anything you want. You can talk about the bumps in the night, the visions, the colors in front of your eyes, the things you're hearing, the things you're seeing. And everyone's like, "Ooh, tell me more." Or I
Yeah.
had that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. Oh my goodness, so much, so many things that I want to talk to you about. And you've just touched on one of them, which I have to say I think is incredibly brave and in honesty, not something I'm sure that I would do. And you've been on this non-spiritual podcast. So you've gone out there and you've not only just gone on there to talk about your work, you've shown your work to to every muggle and their
Hmm.
cousin and a lot of religious people.
Hmm.
Kudos to you, girly.
It's hard.
What's that process been like for you? Yeah, because that's a
Ooh.
big ask.
Yeah, it was a lot. That is the grand stage. That's the Grand Old Opry House. That is like the moment, you know?
Yeah.
Honestly, that's Radio City Music Hall. That's like that's the big reveal. And yeah, when I got there, it was challenging only because it was very different energetically. Oh my gosh, Hannah, it was in Las Vegas. Number one, it was in Las Vegas. I had never been there before. The guides in the shower the day before I left told me no alcohol. I heard no alcohol, remain sober is what I heard. And I said, why? They have never said that to me ever. I'm always the one saying, is it okay if I have this? Is it okay if I do that? I'm the one saying, will this affect my frequency? Remain sober. I said, okay, why? The frequency of Las Vegas is so low vibration. There are so many running rampant energies, entities. It's just such a low vibe that I had to protect my energy at all costs. That was what I was consuming. That was everything. I wound up like cocooning myself in the hotel a little bit, went out for a little hiatus to get a burger at a place and experience like what felt like Sodom and Gomorrah. It was crazy town. And I was like, I'm never coming back here again. But I had to experience that.
Yeah.
And I had to go there, which was like the epitome of the overall experience, which was a wave of people who had never seen channeling, who had never really heard a story like mine. He had only had a couple people. I asked him live on the podcast. I said, have you ever had a channeler on before? And he said, I had Elizabeth April, who I follow, who I followed from the very beginning, and this other guy that is a very interesting channeler too. He's the one he whispers it and then he says it loud. Have you ever heard
No,
him?
never seen.
Yeah, yeah. Um, So he's had those two experiences, but his audience is very vast. It's a large, large net of all and every kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I channeled a message for him before I went, and they told me, the guides told him, because I delivered him the message live on the air, that he's awakening. He is awakening publicly before his audience. He is having his spiritual awakening journey in front of his audience. They are living it through him. So he's bringing on, like, biohackers, and he's bringing on people who are talking about ancient civilizations and mediumship and
Yeah.
galactic beings and people, that you see often on large, like Gaia and stuff like that. He's bringing some of them on, but the majority of are the girl who farts in a jar, who sells it for $400, who made
Yeah.
like $40,000 in a day. Like, I mean, that's a dynamic shift right there.
Yeah.
Right. So I knew what I was getting into. And I said, I'm doing this. I mean, I am trusting this. The invitation comes to you. I didn't seek it. The actual guy who hosts, it wasn't through a podcasting booking service. It wasn't through his rep. It wasn't through anything. He reached out to me personally and asked me. And so, then I channel the message and I get the intel behind it from the guides, from that divine wisdom. And I understand the purpose of it. And it is so that there are events that are coming, which I have known about. He's going to hear the words that I do live, the channeled live message, and he's going to re-air it again in the future. And there's a reason they had to view me in such a vulnerable. I felt like I was being crucified.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really did. And that was an experience that I needed to work through for my trauma, for my soul trauma, that is, for my work. Because I don't know if you remember when we spoke last, I was raised a performer. So I was a classical pianist growing up. And then I started singing when I was 37. I bought a guitar when I was 40. I joined a band. Then I was in a David Bowie tribute band singing to thousands of people. And I was very scared of forgetting the lyrics, of forgetting the chords, of forgetting the things. But I had this drive that pushed me to keep doing it. And there was a reason I needed to keep doing it so that I could get stronger at being out in front of people, so that I could
Yeah.
get my stage, kind of the fright kind of behind me a little bit in some way. And I know it was because of what I'm doing now. I knew it was. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. I mean, yeah, you've been through it. And it's been hard to watch as somebody who knows you and loves you. And
Hmm.
it's I definitely think, I mean, I said to you, I interviewed someone else for the podcast this morning, and we were discussing in that um no longer trying to convince anybody. If you're a
Right.
non-believer, you know,
Hmm.
spirit will awaken you. They managed to awaken me. I
Hmm.
was, living a completely, I mean, I believed in something, but I wasn't living a spiritual life.
Hmm.
I'm going to pass that over to them. It's not my job. I'll see you when you're ready to learn more. And you've been a real pinnacle being out there and being seen for it. So let's talk about the Great Council of Light, who
Hmm.
you channel. These dudes, for want of a better expression, I hope they don't mind me calling them that. Now, these dudes, do you know where they're from? Like, who are they? I know
You're so cute.
are they human form? Do you see them as a form? Are they something else? Like, how does that work for you?
Yeah, such a good question. These dudes of mine, my posse of pals, when I started channeling all different kinds of beings. I was cocooned right after COVID, and I had just come home from a week-long journey of ayahuasca. And at the end of I healed a lot of trauma. My vibration rose every time I healed trauma, to the point where at the end of the week-long journey, this white light came through my third eye, filled my whole body up with vibration. My brain was crackling, my teeth were chattering, the back of my skull was buzzing, and I was in love frequency. And I heard, everything from this moment forward will shift. Your psychic abilities have been enhanced. And I was out of breath and I was crying, and it was like so profound. Then I went back to the US in my little living room, and COVID came, and we had this huge bank of time. And I remember just being called to sit and to call whomever it was at that point. I didn't know what it was at that point. But those moments happen. where you can't deny them, and everyone has them, whatever they are for you, whatever they are. They don't even have to be spiritual. There's a shift, there's a moment, there's words that were said, there's an experience, whatever it is, you can't deny it. And so I knew there was more. And I had already been on a journey of discovering up until that point. So the first beings that came in, one was Ra and one was Thoth. Now they are very, 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 very profound and important because Ra is the creator being and Thoth was after him. And with those ancient civilizations, those beings that existed at those times on our planet and others, they were there for a reason. They were creating civilization. And then I started experiencing this group of collective divine feminine beings. I call them energies, not beings. They're all energies. They would come in and they were effervescent and they would fill my body up with this, like a soda bubbling. Like they would just make me feel buoyant and high frequency and so much love. And they would talk to me with these lovely, lovely, soft voices. Every time they would come in, I knew there was profound healing work to follow them. And I would do these past lives. And I kept experiencing them tongue-tied. I would go through the experience. I would release the trauma. I would release the sorrow around it, have understanding around it, and move to the next one. And every time my frequency would rise, because of my frequency rising, I was able to get to a point where these new guides would come in. The Great Council of Light came in, and they were profound and they are powerful. But they worked with me. They knew what my capacities were. They knew my physicality had to change to house this. And when you see me channel, my body moves and my head thrashes back and forth and my neck moves because it comes in the back of my head and it moves my being. I kind of move my consciousness off to the side and I allow them to come through. So long story short, they're a group of collective beings, high frequency creator beings. I see them as beings of light when I'm with them. I go up the escalator of light is what I say. And I grab my briefcase and I go up and it's like a white glowing tunnel in my mind that's free and protective and no one's able to come in. No energies are able to permeate it. And I go in and they shake my head. Yes. And they're around this conference table in my mind. It's, I would say like where the council sits. They talk about the Galactic Council. They talk about all these different, the Federation. They talk about all these different things. They're just human words to put an understanding on what they are.
Mm-hmm.
The Council are creator beings. They have a very high interest in us. They love us. They want nothing more than to help us have a better experience on planet Earth. They teach about learning love. They teach about vibration and frequency and dimensions and beings, like what lives beyond just what we are able to see in our three-dimensional reality.
Mm-hmm.
So much more. We can't see them, they can see us. And people get scared if they haven't ever experienced channeling. They don't understand it. You and I were in this space. People who are on the path, who have been listening to you and are in your community, they have been learning. They have been experiencing. They want more and more. It has to start somewhere. So if someone, whatever you call them, I forget what you call them, whatever they're called,
The
if
D's.
they're, yeah, no, the low vibe audience, if they're,
Muggles.
those muggles, if their experience was to, jumpstart in a super quick way, which has to happen now because of where we are. Like mine was like going to yoga nidra. And my awakening journey took 10, 12 years. It's not happening slowly anymore. There's an escalated experience that's happening because the vibration of the planet is raising, consciousness is shifting. Like it's going to be in an instant when these experiences happen that people are just going to, like COVID happened. What am I doing? How am I living my life? Suddenly I connect and love and miss my family, and my work needs to be more meaningful. My time needs to be spent more meaningfully. All of those things. It's going to happen in a similar way, but different, where they're going to be forced to see that their reality is so small. Mm-hmm. And that's what the council wants. The council wants us to learn how to heighten our frequency so that when these experiences that are low frequency happen, We're not just swept up in the sea. We are standing like these towers, these lighthouses of strength, these pillars of strength, knowing that we're prepared. We know more. We understand more. And that's really what their purpose is.
Okay. So you're the Council of Light are here. You are in the evolution of mankind, the vibration of the planet. And so you believe that there's going to be this mass awakening where lots of people get switched on.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
Fascinating. And has that
Yes.
come to you in one of your visions? Is that
Hmm.
just a knowing? Do the council talk about it? And the most important question, have they given us a timeline?
I knew you were going to say that. So, you know, timelines, your people know timelines. Every single decision that each one of us individually makes and each one of us collectively makes, it affects the whole, it affects the collective. But the guides have talked about imminent, is that the right word? Timelines that we are making the decisions that these are very high probability. That's the better way to say it. Um, so there are many events actually. So it depends what's coming. I have, like I said before, the very first thing they showed me was the glass ceiling breaks. Psh, people are going to be stopped in their tracks. They're not going to understand who and what they've believed in, what their reality has been built in, and they're going to be confused and drop to their knees and not understand. To me, that is the great unveiling. To me, that is our origin story on the planet. That is the low frequency that kind of runs our world. And who is that and what is that all about? If you haven't been diving into these spaces to try and kind of understand it or watching alternative people and podcasts and things, you won't understand what that is. And that's, I mean, my God, that's definitely a stop you in your tracks moment.
Mhm.
I've also seen another moment where this is a vision and I've drawn it. I've drawn a lot of them because I'm an artist. I don't know if I talked about that, but I've
No?
seen I've seen a giant awareness campaign in the sky of thousands of ships just in the sky saying, "Hey guys, we're here. We're benevolent. We are not, we're doing nothing merely but showing you our presence." That moment, that's a light bulb moment. That's an initiation immediately into a higher frequency. And, several things like that. So I channeled a 2025 predictions video. I did one last year, 2024. And they predicted that there would be an assassination attempt on Trump, and there was. And they predicted that the music industry, that people would start falling far from their places, and they have. They've talked about an unraveling in entertainment, in pharma, in healthcare, and food, in finance, and all of that. It's all shifting now in our government. It's all happening now. They said March was the unraveling, and now April is the reveal. So there's going to be some sort of a reveal. Now, when we say reveal, it's multifaceted, right? It could be the ships in the sky. That's a sort of a reveal. It could be how our planet is originated. That's a sort of a reveal. But it could also be we have been through. We haven't been through things like our ancestors. You and I, we have never had an attack on the U.S. over here quite like we had, like my grandparents had been through, or their parents before them. And they've said that there's going to be simultaneous attack happening within the United States. It's already planned. You know, there's a high probability for it, and that's sort of a reveal. That is a aha, holy shit, what the fuck, what the like. We've never been conditioned. We are. I have a supermarket on the other side of this wall, across the street, and down half a block. We go get our food there every day, or whenever it is that we want it. We're not used to living in a way where we are not dependent on our government and on our all these things. That's an aha reveal kind of moment. All that's what I'm trying to say. And those the guides talk about this for this beautiful, beautiful new earth energy, this beautiful, beautiful new earth to be revealed and to exist. That the ways that we exist in now have to be broken down. They have to be breaking. And this is the unraveling now of that. It's just not, it's not able to stay the way it is
Mhm.
because the planet is shifting. Consciousness is shifting. It's a frequency, it's a vibration. So they can't exist together, right? So that's like all the things. That's all the things. And it's beautiful though. Like when you really think about it, returning to the ways where we're using all of our senses, where we're speaking without speaking, we're communicating to each other, we're creating these healing centers using vibration and frequency and intention, and we're really working with the universe continually every day and each other with love at our front and focus. Like, can you imagine? I want to live there, is what I
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Right. Mm.
Oh, right. Well, it's interesting because this for us is the 9th of April, but your podcast is not coming out till the end of July. So it'll be
Wow.
so
Oh,
fascinating to see. But I just wanted to put this pin. That's why I was looking down at the
yeah.
clock. I was
Yeah.
like, right now it is 6:45 in the evening UK time on the 9th of April, because it could all change. A week today, it
Wow.
could be completely
Mm-hmm.
different. And I just want to
Mm-hmm.
put a pin in that
Oh my
moment.
gosh. Yeah. Good job.
So, ah, I know you have loads of stuff that goes on. So how do you take care of you in all of this?
Ooh,
Because this is big stuff.
yeah. That's another good question. I seem to sometimes forget about me and the universe. I was with someone for 3 years. His name was David. He was very loving. He was probably the highest frequency of love relationship I had ever had in my life, probably till that moment. And I guess that makes sense because we're always doing higher and better. But I
Hmm.
kept having visions that he wasn't my future. I kept seeing he wasn't my future. And these were when the visions were just starting. And I kept hearing, if you want everything that you said you want, he's not your future. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's my best friend. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And so they showed me a vision. They showed me exactly what I needed to see. And that morning I broke up with him. And I've always known what my future holds. I've seen it. I've been told many times what it is with relationships, and it's what I want. So I got very clear that I wasn't going to manipulate. I wasn't going to contrive. I wasn't going to seek. I wasn't going to do all the things. I created a love crystal grid. I did an Akashic block release. I wrote a letter with the crystal grid underneath it. I cleared closet space, drawer space. It was very intentional. And I spoke the words of what will be, of what is my future. I didn't let anybody tell me that it wasn't happening, even my own mother. It doesn't happen for everyone. She said, it will happen for me because I believe that it is there. It's my future. So I was traveling through Florida and he was traveling through Florida and I knew David. The other one was David, the new David, and I met because I heard to go on an app and I'm like, I don't do apps. And I went on it and I actually found him. And the reason I'm telling you this is because sometimes you don't know what you need. He was a Marine. He's very, very, very grounded, very strong, very knowing, and he doesn't need to know a lot about. He's holding space for me. So my partner holds space for me. It's kind of amazing.
Hmm.
I saw a meme recently where there was an athlete and she like crossed the finish line and everyone was like hooraying her and everything. She went into this shock. Her body, her nervous system went into this crazy shock and she couldn't get it under control. And one of their team members was this big masculine guy. He came over and he held her. Well, he grounded her and he reset her nervous system. And that's what my David does for me. So I have that every day in my life. And then water is, it's a conduit. And in the morning when I take my shower, I always call the council in. Everyone comes in, the whole team. That's like all the guides. So there's a bunch of them. And they come in and they work with me. They recalibrate my energy centers. They will work with my body almost gyrotonically, moving like limbs in certain ways and fingers in certain ways to release energy out of my physical body. And I have sound healings that we curate every month for our community. So they're constantly playing and they help kind of anchor me and recalibrate my energy as well. I don't feel like I do any of it enough, honestly. I feel like I'm running like a I can't even tell you, like 100 miles a minute. Like there's 500 arms around me doing something. You
I
understand.
always say to my students, do as I say, not as I do. Here's the teaching of how to look after yourself. I'm now going to do none of it. But that is what you should be doing. Bye.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
One of my questions I've written down to ask you, and this is really fascinating because I've never had a guest who says they know their future.
Mm.
So, my question for you would be normally, what are you hoping is going to come next for you? But the question I'm
Ooh.
going to ask you is, what do you know is next for you?
Yeah, I can't believe you're asking me this because it's just been revealed to me in a more meaningful way last week. So I've been told from the guides that I'm going to do instantaneous healing. And I was like a healer. I never wanted to be a healer. It's not something I wanted to do when I grew up. They said, no, you're going to be doing it. That moment of sudden realization shifts the consciousness of the planet and the energy as a whole immediately. And it releases and ignites something inside of me immediately. And my vessel is able to, I channel, as you saw with the council, a huge amount of energy. I really do. I'm going to be channeling, harnessing, it's not channeling, harnessing this healing energy. I'm going to just be carrying it. I'm not doing it. I'm the
Mhm.
capsule carrying this energy. And I never understood what it meant. I didn't understand what it is. I didn't get it. I got into alignment because of that podcast. There was this man that I was researching the podcast and I found him and I went, holy shit. This is what I think he knows. First of all, he understands the creator beings. He speaks to them. He understands the guides. We're connected, number one. Number two, he talks about this healing thing that I've never heard anyone talk about except for myself. And number three, I got on the plane and I was closing my eyes as we're taking off. And I started feeling his energy. I started connecting with him. And suddenly his eyes went up in front of me. And I went, okay, this is a moment. There is something there. I recently connected with someone that does exactly what he does, who actually knows him, right? And it's about the healing. So the healing thing is getting teed up, which tells me the event is coming, Hannah, closer. See, there's all these putting the dots in a row.
Yeah.
I've also seen that spirit calling is not merely a platform like what we talked about earlier. The vision of what we see is this. There's rings around it and it's global and it's huge and it's massive and it's wonderful and it touches all aspects of someone's life. And that is what the future is. And with that comes that dynamic wealth shift. And with that comes the prosperity module that gets released. And it's spirit and energy worker and soul aligned people's time now. This is what's next. It's cool.
I love it. I do love it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was like I was being told a story there. And I was just like drifting and I was listening to all the words and I was like, hang on, back in the room, Macintyre, back in the room. Okay. One quick question, and then I've got a couple of quick fire questions, if you don't mind, because I love
Sure.
ending on these.
Yeah.
These are my new obsession. But before that, do you believe that anybody can channel spirit? Anyone could be a medium, or do you think that this is a set path your soul chose?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I think it's both. So, I think that we all have these abilities inside of us. One of the things I just launched is my pineal gland meditation. That's the mother load. It's amazing. We all have a pineal gland with crystals inside of our brain area. We all have the ability to be receptors of universal information, to connect to one another's. We all have the ability to utilize our chakras and all of our clairs and all of I mean, like we all have that. Mediumship is a part of that, right? That's just innately what it is. And then number two, I do believe that you choose your soul path before you come here. So, Hannah, I believe that you did this many, many, many lifetimes, as did I. That's why I feel so aligned and comfortable and so much love with you because we have had, I'm sure, so many conversations in so many past lives before. We're all finding each other now. And, this is what our job is right now for this lifetime, right?
Yeah. I hope I've also got one where I can not be a work obsessed crazy maniac and I'm sitting on a beach with a cocktail. But
I agree.
I'll see you there too.
I know. I'll be with, I want to be there with you, sister. Please.
Right. If you could only use one spiritual tool for the rest of your life, what would you use and why?
Ooh, I think it's the one that I use the most, and it's my intuition. It's my higher guidance. That's what I use the most. So I don't know if that's all the clairs in the bundle or if it's just one of them, but
I love it. No, well,
yeah.
probably all, but through that
Hmm.
filter.
Hmm.
Um, Now, you've already answered that one. I'm just going down them. If you could instantly master one skill that's not spiritual, I mean, obviously you've sung, you've played the guitar. What would you add to that list?
Oh, that's so good. I would love to be able to just be on a stage with ease, just with ease, not worrying about the movement, the moment, the answer, the delivery, all the things. And I think that that is in my future, but that's hard for me. And I have to actually do that in my professional life next month. And, I'm getting better as I get older, but I just love for that to go away and to just be like super amazing speaker and engaging and all the things.
I think you are. You just feel
Yeah.
awkward. You are an
Yes.
amazing speaker. So you can have dinner with three people, living or past. Who's at your dinner table and why?
Okay, so number one would be my grandfather. I'll tell you why, because he was old when he had my mom. So he was always old, and he died when I was just in my young 20s. And he was an immigrant. He, he came to Italy on a boat for 2 weeks, didn't speak English, didn't have a trade, didn't anything. He had a vision. And I would love to talk to him about his experience, his fears, his all the things. Because my grandmother and he were both entrepreneurial, and so am I. And I see myself in him and she all the time. So I'd love to
Yeah,
hang out with him. I know this is probably silly, but since I was a little girl, I've just had such a love and a connection with Jesus. He'd show up in ways like he would always answer everything I asked him. And I was scared of my dad, and there were things I needed, and he was always there. He always showed up. And I believe that I have been among him. Maybe I was a follower of his. We were friends. Who knows? But I would love to be able to have that opportunity. That would be the coolest thing ever. It really would.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then the last one would be I have always known, even before I was awake, that I was an opera singer in a past life. I've always known it, because I can hold. That's partly why I'm able to channel the way I'm able to channel, and the energy and the air that comes just from my capacity. Anyway, I've known that I'm an opera singer. I can sing like a mofo. I'd love to meet that version of myself and love to see myself. That would be
That's a
really
cool
cool.
answer.
Yeah.
I love it. Good. Flipping the switch. Have you got any spiritual icks? Are there things in the community where you're like, oh, please, God, don't do that. I can't bear it.
Ooh, let's see.
Not instantly. Yeah, you're much
I
calmer
don't
than
know.
me.
I'm trying to think.
Give you 20 straight off the
No,
bat.
I,
What have you got?
I don't know. You're just so funny. I don't know. I really don't know. I guess not. I
Okay.
don't know. Channeling's my big thing because my friend Dina, she travels with me and she knows it all coward. And she said to Sean, she said, would you like her to channel? I'm like, you motherfucker, you want me to channel? Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
channel too.
Oh,
Yeah.
bless you. Okay, I've got one more question and then I'm going to let you off the hook. If you were a tarot or an oracle card, what card would you be and why? Actually, I've got one more question
Wow.
after that. I can't stop. One more
Okay.
after that.
So the first thing that came to me was manifestation, but then I saw divine guidance, with like a brilliant light shining. So I think I would be divine guidance because manifestation falls underneath that. Yeah, I just saw it. It's so cool because I want to create a card deck from the council And ooh,
There you
yeah,
go. First card
just
done.
tapped into it. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
nice. Okay, this is a good one. And this is why I was suddenly like, no, I've got to ask this. The Great Council of Light are walking onto a stage. What is their theme song that's playing?
Dun 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 dun
Da.
dun 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 dun
Uh,
dun 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 flying
Rocky.
high now. Yeah, flying high now. Oh, I could do the whole song right now.
I mean,
Funny.
I kind of want you to, but that
I
was
was not even
amazing.
on, I know that wasn't even on pitch, but that was
But I loved
good.
it. I was with you.
Yeah, I can see him because it's that. Okay, I'm gonna send it to you. You're gonna have to watch it later.
Oh my God, do it. Amazing. Where can people find you, Pamela?
Okay, thank you so much for asking. So I tell everyone if there's something about this conversation, if there's something that tweaked your heart, that made you hear a whisper of something, come and visit us. We have a beautiful, loving community of like-minded people where you can talk about everything in a safe space. You won't be judged. And that's spirit-calling.com. We have community events every single week. It's like a spiritual Facebook. There's a curated sound healing in a beautiful frequency every month to support our community. There's events, there's aligned professionals, there are different ways for you to learn about different modalities and things like that. And then I'm also on YouTube at Spirit Calling Pamela and TikTok at Spirit Calling Pamela and Instagram, same. Um, and so I have a show on New Reality TV and something on the up and coming Ethereal Network. So there'll be new things, new offerings soon. But yeah, you can also, oh, I forgot. This is so important. Thank you, Spirit. I didn't even plan to do this. I was channeling for someone I was working with, and this pineal gland meditation came out. At the end of the meditation, it said, you need to do this now. People need to have this. They need to work on their pineal gland. They need to activate it and decalcify it. So I was like, okay. So I had my sound healer create the frequency of the pineal gland, a meditation. So I coupled that with the Great Council of Lights meditation. It is powerful. People are having the pulsing. People are feeling the activation. So I just launched that, a connecting to your spirit guides and an abundance meditation. But this morning they just told me three more that I have to do, which are really cool. They're really cool.
Good.
I can't wait to do them. Yeah.
And
So
where
that's all
can,
on my website. That's
on
all on
your
my
website,
website.
I was going to say, where can people find those? Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's a new masterclass that's starting in 2 weeks where I'm only taking 10 people. And because I want everyone to have time with the council, where we meet monthly, we have an hour and a half, and we deliver channel messages and give guidance to help improve people's lives. And then you can work with me one on one. So it's all on my website.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Pamela. It's been lovely to talk to you as
Oh,
always.
it was my pleasure. It was so good to see you. And thank you so much for having me.